Hrim Shrim Lam Lambodharaya Namaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glaum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vashamanaya Swaha. My salutations to my dear Ganapati. Hello and welcome to my three-part astrology series on Bhārat. My name is Vijay Jyotish. This is a Prashna-based astrological reading on the future for Pakistan-occupied Kashmir from the perspective of Bharat. First, if you do not know what Prashna astrology is, then I recommend viewing my video on the 2020 US presidential elections. I've got a short summary in there which you might find helpful. You'll also find the link for it in the description below. This video today is the third and final installment in a multi-part series on Bharat and perhaps the most awaited part in this series. In the first two parts, I shared astrological insights on the upcoming Lok Sabha elections in Bharat and on the imminent military conflict between China and Bharat. If this is of interest to you, you'll find links to both of these videos in the description below. That said, now let's look at the future for Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and when we can expect to see Bharat finally resolve this conflict in our favor. Prashna confirms that it will not be easy to undo the historical blunders committed with Jammu and Kashmir. In addition to the well-known vested political interests in this conflict, a lack of decisiveness and wasteful delay appear to be the two primary reasons that both gave birth to this decades-long conflict and continue to be the reasons that inhibit a resolution to this day. Before we proceed, let's examine the history of this conflict. As of today, there are varied perspectives about the origin and history of this conflict from different political interests. These include everything from shameless lies to the holy truth. Somewhere in between, we also have half-truths that have been peddled to suit narratives for vested political interests. The common and most popular perspective of the right in Bharat today is that our Honorable former Prime Minister Shri Jawaharlal Nehru-ji was and is responsible for the current situation in Kashmir. This is also the common rhetoric we hear from geopolitical security experts in the right-leaning media. While this perspective is true in part, and you'll shortly hear why, one really cannot blame the Honorable Nehru-ji for literally everything under the sun. Per Prashna, the primary responsibility appears to lie clearly with the Honorable King of the erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, Shri Maharāja Hari Singh-ji. His apparent lack of decisiveness and ill-considered delay in making a decision to join the dominion of Bharat before 15th August 1947 is perhaps the primary reason for this conflict to manifest in the first place. The Honorable Prime Minister of Jammu and Kashmir at that time, Shri Meher Chand Mahajan-ji, attributes this indecisiveness and delay to the hopeful desire of the Maharaja to rule Jammu and Kashmir as an independent nation-state with the help of his Dogra forces. It appears that the Maharaja was wishfully unrealistic about the ethnic and demographic ground realities of his state. With the majority Pashtun and Muslim population in the northern areas of Mirpur, Muzaffarabad, Gilgit-Baltistan, it was perhaps imprudent to imagine that his authority would go unchallenged. This unrealistic dream and perhaps unreasonable desire ended quickly in a nightmare when the Pashtun tribesmen, backed by the Pakistani Army, launched a ghastly unprovoked attack on Jammu and Kashmir in October 1947. To make things worse, Muslim troops working for the state of Kashmir are on record to have switched sides to fight for the aggressor. For some, it appears that religion comes first and above all. With Baramulla completely destroyed and with Srinagar in grave danger, the Maharaja and his Prime Minister made desperate attempts to get immediate military assistance from Bhārat and the United Kingdom, including sending a proposal for accession to Bhārat. It was now the turn of our Honorable Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru-ji to display both the lack of decisiveness and even disinterest to this request from the Honorable Maharaja. This indecisiveness and disinterest ultimately stymied the decision for military support to the Maharaja until a few precious days after the original request was made. Even a few days of neglect during wartime can be very significant. It can change the course of the war and make all the difference between victory and defeat. In addition, this agreement to provide military support also included an ominous and unnecessary condition. The Prime Minister Nehru-ji asked that his dear friend Sheikh Abdullah-ji be given authority to administer Jammu and Kashmir alongside the then Prime Minister Meher Chand-ji. This historic blunder would eventually set the tone for what we are seeing in Kashmir today. This is perhaps an area where healthy criticism is appropriate for the Honorable Nehru-ji. In any case, after much delay, discussion, and final agreement to proceed with the accession, the unfortunate climax was and is in the really inauspicious time when Shri Maharāja Hari Singh-ji signed that fateful Instrument of Accession to Bhārat. As per the official Instrument of Accession, the paperwork was signed by the Maharaja on October 26, 1947. It was then accepted by the Governor-General of Bharat, Lord Mountbatten, on October 27, 1947. However, there is no mention of either the time or place for these events. Going by the words of the Honorable Prime Minister Meher Chand Mahajanji, who was intimately involved in this process and events unfolding to this day, I estimate that the papers were officially signed by the Maharaja sometime in the early afternoon hours on October 27, 1947 in Jammu city. The region is still suffering the consequences of that ominous moment to this day. Here you can see the effort that was taken to astrologically rectify the time and place of a very key event, which is deeply buried in the annals of our history and perhaps forgotten by time. I take this very seriously because the accuracy of my predictions depend verily on these key transformational moments. While we are on this subject, I also want to emphasize that in addition to Prashna, this reading has required a detailed analysis of the charts for the nations involved, key historical events in this conflict, and an analysis of the destiny of the leaders involved in this conflict so far, and for those who are likely to be involved in this conflict in the future. As you can see, this is an incredibly complex and intensive process requiring significant amounts of both time and energy, and not to mention the blessings and grace of my dear Mahakali. Moving on, Prashna is absolutely clear that despite Bharat's desire to resolve this conflict diplomatically and bilaterally with Pakistan, it is not possible to do so without the involvement of the Honourable United Kingdom. The Honourable UK is integral to the history of this conflict. They are inseparably intertwined in this conflict, and Bharat cannot really wish this away. Per Prashna, no final resolution is possible until the United Kingdom is involved and lobbied to support Bharat. Prashna indicates that Bharat will continue to insist for some time that this problem is local to the subcontinent, but it will be forced to reorient to the West supremacy eventually. As such, it is best not to resist this in the interest of avoiding further delay in the resolution of this conflict. Prashna indicates clearly that the United Kingdom will join hands with one nation at the time of resolution. This will not be some compromise formula where each side receives a portion of the territory. The winner will take all. There is an indication that this eventual support of the United Kingdom could inauspiciously be in the favor of Pakistan. This is not because they like Pakistan or that their case has any merit, but this will be to teach Bharat a lesson and to stymie a growing global power, presence, progress, and position. As such, we must endeavor to secure our interests by lobbying with the United Kingdom and gaining their friendship so that we can win their natural support. Only friendship with the powerful West, who by the way are currently privately unfriendly to Bharat, can help us. A time will come in the future when we are a superpower in our own right and can have a seat at the high table, but that time unfortunately is not now. Until then, this notion of being a Vishwaguru is unfortunately just that, a private notion that we can personally hold as the holy truth. In addition, Prashna clearly indicates that the immigrants to Britain from the Mirpur region of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir have both an undue and outsized influence in the UK due to their affluence and active participation in this issue. We would be well advised to find a way to counter this formidable influence before any grounds can be established for a successful resolution of this conflict in our favor. This will clearly take time and patience, lots of it. Surely one can get frustrated and try to rush things, but that will only harm our interests. Despite the official and public rhetoric from the Honorable Modi government, Bharat is coming primarily from a perspective of resolving this conflict via a diplomatic negotiation. Since the legal paperwork is clearly in our favor, there is no doubt about that at all. Pakistan, on the other hand, would much rather fight this militarily to the finish, much to their credit, by the way. Despite any propaganda you might have heard, note that they are not one to run from a fight. They might be deceitful perhaps, but fight like hell they will. So let's not delude ourselves about this. As we already know, the issue of Kashmir unites Pakistan like nothing else. Prashna indicates that even Bharat reaps political dividend from keeping this conflict alive. So it will be on and off, mild and severe from time to time. But no decisive action or resolution will come about as it serves nobody's interest. In addition to the main stakeholders in this conflict, neither does the West want Bharat to be free of this conflict, and nor does our very friendly neighbor to the north, China, want this as well. Prashna is absolutely clear that resolution can only happen when Bharat decides that enough is enough. This will require diplomacy on one hand and military action on the other hand. This will also take time and many attempts, with multiple attempts fizzling out prematurely. We must keep fighting to the finish and not give up when we hit obstacles or transitory failures. I know that many of you listening in are hoping to hear that our Honorable Prime Minister Modi-ji will be the one to take the decisive action and solve this problem for Bharat, just like he's done with Article 370. The popular hope is that Prime Minister Modi-ji will authorize our valiant Indian Army to launch offensive operations and retrieve Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Even though all current political indicators point strongly to this possibility, Unfortunately, Prashna is clear that this will not be the case. In the coming future, this conflict will enter a new period characterized by cruelty, anger, violence, bitterness, and death before any final resolution is possible. Per Prashna, any major decision to initiate military offensive operations will take time and patience. Anger, haste, frustration, all of it is futile. Delay, and even more delay appears to be the central influence inhibiting a resolution to this conflict. The general public in Bharat will be quite dissatisfied with this inordinate delay as time progresses, especially given the popular hope, hype, and expectation of muscular 56-inch action by the Modi government. The honorable opposition will likely mock this delay as they have done with the Bhavya Ram Mandir by saying PoK वापस लेंगे मगर तारीख नहीं बताएंगे. Eventually, they will have to swallow their words as well, like they did in the case of Bhavya Ram Mandir, but that will take a long time. Per Prashna, as already hinted, the resolution will not be during the time of our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji. Neither will it come during the time of our Honorable Amit Shah ji. In the future, a leader from the Nāth Samradāya will assume power in Delhi. When this happens, we will see the final moves in this decades-long conflict. Well, no prizes for guessing who this is. It is none other than our Honorable Yogi Adityanath ji. For Kashmir, this is the case of Yogi hai, to mumkin hai. Only our dear bulldozer Baba can generate the political will that is required to resolve this conflict. However, even for Yogi ji, it will not come in his first term. We are looking at the possibility for a final resolution in this conflict sometime between 2035 and 2045. Per Prashna, for Pakistan, the indication is strong for a curse from the ancestors. These are women who have been violently ravaged, children whose innocence have been stolen, elderly who have suffered dishonorable deaths, and men who have suffered horrendous torture at the hands of the Pakistani Army, the Pashtun tribesmen, and jihadi terrorists over the decades of this conflict. This potent curse will stymie any auspicious outcome for Pakistan. Karma will return with exponential compound interest. Perhaps much to the delight of the citizens of Bharat, Prashna also indicates that when compared to Bharat, the status of Pakistan and the respect accorded by the world to this country will be insignificant and even nearly non-existent. The citizens of Pakistan will not be able to feel any pride in their country's achievements, mainly because there is unlikely to be any real achievement in practically any field, be it education, sports, entertainment, development, technology, etc. The overall mood of their people will remain bearish and be characterized by an overall feeling of disappointment, gloom, and downfall. Prashna also indicates that Pakistan will not be able to benefit from the youth of the nation, who are typically the future leaders for any nation. As such, there will be a leadership vacuum in the future which will contribute further to the chaos in Pakistan. People's participation in the Pakistani government and democracy, or lack of it, will be very low. And the army will continue to hold the reins of power for time to come. Prashna also indicates that Bharat will continue to hold the overall upper hand in sporting engagements with Pakistan, denying them even this momentary feeling of exhilaration that comes when their team wins the occasional cricket match. For Pakistan, corruption, counterfeit currency, narcotics, and all other nefarious activities will bring even more turbulence to the country. Even the few remaining influential voices of reason will not be able to positively influence the Awam. The army and the ISI will retain their iron grip with power concentrated in a handful of people while the general public in Pakistan suffers endlessly. Prashna also confirms that food supplies and food reserves of Pakistan will suffer. We might see a frequent repeat of the scenes where ordinary Pakistanis squabble over a bag of wheat flour or other food supplies. This points to a lack of organized planning and agricultural strategy in Pakistan. Unfortunately for them, the rain gods will also trouble them with a combination of failing rains and ravaging floods to destroy crops and livelihood. The Balochistan issue will continue to flare up for Pakistan and result in a complete severing of certain areas from government control. Pakistan will unfortunately find it very difficult to get loans and nearly impossible to repay debt. They will continue selling their family silver to fund all anti-Bharat activities at the expense of their own growth and development of their country. For Bharat, Prashna indicates that the ground must be first prepared before an eventual resolution in the conflict is even possible. There is very serious negative karma related to this land in Jammu and Kashmir. Simply saying that, oh, the paperwork is in our favor, so we own Jammu and Kashmir is honestly meaningless. The ground realities are very different. Prashna is clear that we have ignored Sanatana Dharma in the valley, and we simply want a territory on the basis of the legal paperwork. Prashna is absolutely clear that before any resolution is possible in our favor, we must revive Shiva and Shakti Sampradaya in Jammu and Kashmir in a very big way. Mahadev holds the key to this conflict, and his fervent upasana is key to helping Bharat. In addition, the Surya Martan temple must also be revived to its former glory to pay off the karmic debt of the land, and as a prerequisite to become fearless so bold action can be taken. That will remove fear from all types of hell for us. This is the first action that I would recommend. Faith, prayer, cultural and spiritual revival is key. This is not just a piece of land that was acceded to us. This is a punya bhumi of Sanatana Dharma that has been ravaged and pillaged by invaders for centuries. If we really want this land back, Sanatana Dharma must first return to the valley. Shiva is the controller of time and everything. He single-handedly holds the key to the resolution of this conflict. As such, Atirudram events must be regularly organized in the valley to invoke the blessings of Mahadev. There is no winning back of Kashmir without this. Prashna also indicates that the Mathura Krishna Janmabhoomi and the Shiva temple at the disputed Gyanvapi site in Banaras will need to be resolved before any move can be made on the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. As such, you can see that the timeline for resolution is quite extended. It will come in a prioritized order. In addition, any lip service provided to the Honorable Kashmiri Pandits must now translate into real support. Agnihotra traditions must be revived to spiritually transform the land. The requisite foundation must be laid. Simply hankering after the territory and claiming it is ours will not get it for us. Shiva is the ultimate decider, and efforts on our part will have to be Himalayan, both in size and number. Prashna also indicates that there will be many twists and turns in this process. Surprisingly, a US asset in Britain will fervently assist Bharat by lobbying the UK in our favor. But this entity will be quickly shut down by higher authorities, and any memory of this even happening will be buried and the momentum completely taken away. Prashna also indicates that an influential person in the UK House of Lords will very vocally support Pakistan. This is the type of ecosystem that have been developed by our adversaries. However, as destiny favors Bharat, his malicious intent will fortunately become beneficial for us. This will sort of be like a Viparita Raja Yoga, where we will inadvertently benefit from adversity. It's sort of like winning $1 million in a lawsuit because the airbags in the car did not deploy during a minor accident where the driver was not harmed in any way. But such results will require addressing the spiritual and religious considerations that I just mentioned. I cannot emphasize enough that Mahadev holds the key to this conflict, and so does patience. During mediation, the involved stakeholders will keep asking for dossier after dossier in order to delay the process. Bharat should be careful not to fall into this trap. This is a political conflict requiring a political solution that needs the support of the Western powers. And we must build those strategic security relationships and partnerships starting right now. Too much muscular nationalism will harm our interests in the long run. We cannot afford to annoy the more powerful Western powers beyond a point. This is all fine for winning elections, which even the West patiently understands, but I think we'll need a reality check soon. We cannot keep punching above our weight. I would strongly advise caution. During this time, there is also a possibility for secret communications using old school technologies, such as Morse code and handwritten paper notes, etc. This will be to evade modern signals intelligence that relies on entities using modern communication technologies and modern encryption technologies. Prashna indicates that when the time comes for a resolution in this conflict, more than our adversaries, anti-national elements inside Bharat will be more displeased with the resolution. Even if the honorable Kashmiris from Gilgit-Baltistan, Mirpur and Muzaffarabad willingly agree to accede to Bharat, the anti-national elements and left-leaning anti-Hindus inside Bharat will protest. This will be similar to what we are seeing for the Bhavya Ram Mandir today. Prashna also indicates that the wisdom of our gurus must be treated appropriately. Any smearing dismissal, derogatory insults and or dishonorable treatment to any religious and or spiritual guru will invoke the combined sufferings of the Visarpi and Vishadi Narakaha. So we won't. This applies to me as well. I am doing my dharma in helping and forewarning Bharat. If you attack the messenger, then the karmic consequence will be ruthlessly severe. As always, I will be including prayers for our Honorable PM Modi-ji and Bharat in the Mahasankalpa of my daily homums. You'll find an example in the link shared below. And finally, in the inspiring words of the Honorable Poet Prasoon Joshi-ji, I solemnly swear again as follows. सौगंध मुझे इस मिट्टी की मैं देश नहीं मिटने दूंगा, मैं देश का शीश नहीं झुकने दूंगा, मेरी धरती मुझे पूछ रही है कब मेरा कर्ज चुकाओगे, मेरा अंबर मुझसे पूछ रहा है कब अपना फर्ज निभाओगे. जय हिंद, जय भारत, जय हिंद की सेना. I hope I've been of service to you. For those interested in a personal reading, you'll find details for that on my website, vijayjyotish.com. I've included a link for that as well in the description below. Thank you so much for your time today and have a very auspicious day and year ahead. Bye-bye.